Hey y'all, so I'm only going to be on camera for a couple minutes for however long it takes me to introduce the spread. If you want to skip everything I'm saying and not look at my face, you can. But this is going to be a pick a card, pick a pile, pick an object, pick however you want to pick. I'm going to do three different groups for you guys so that we can get hopefully some specifics. And not just one collective on this. It's a very simple spread. It's 3 cards. It's called the Wise Mind spread, and it was developed by the Tarot Diagnosis. Excuse me. I follow them on Instagram. They can also be found on Facebook, TikTok. They have a podcast, which is on Apple, potentially iTunes. I'm not really sure, but if you're interested, you can look them up and follow them. They are 2 women who are psychotherapists, as I understand it. And some of you may know that I am a psychologist myself, so I lean that direction. I'm not a therapist, but I am a psychologist by education. I don't actually do anything that has much to do with psychology right now, but it's where my heart is. I got 2 degrees in psychology, so I will always love psych, and that will always be the perspective that I kind of come from with just about everything I do, right? So I happened to stumble upon this spread because I kept getting all these messages regardless of what sign I was trying to channel for. I kept getting messages about the blind man, the blind lady, right? And to me, when I hear blind man or blind lady, I think of the 2 of Swords, I think of Libra, I think of justice. So maybe that's relevant to you. I don't know. Bless you. My daughter just sneezed in the other room. So, and to me, all of this points to a struggle to make a decision, right? Head over heart, heart over head, whatever the case may be. But this is, to me, suggestive of a battle between your emotions and your logic. And this spread, oddly enough, which is why it stood out to me, this spread particularly targets that based on cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, what have you. It doesn't really matter, but so I won't bore you to death with psychology stuff. But so we're going to look at, what your emotional mind is saying, what it's telling you versus what your logical mind is telling you, or your reasonable mind, as it's titled in the spread, versus your wise mind, which, as I understand it, the wise mind is the middle ground between the 2. But to me, and this is how I'm approaching the reading, to me, the wise mind is actually like your higher self, your all-seeing self, I don't know. We'll leave it at that, however you want to categorize it. But to me, the wise mind is your higher self, a collection of everything that you know, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever the case may be. But so we're going to look at that. This might not resonate for you if you are not someone who is struggling between your head and your heart over something, but you can watch it anyway. There might be something in one of the piles or all of the piles. I don't know. I've never done a pick a card before. I don't really like them, but it made sense to me for this reading, which I felt was really important because I can't keep channeling the same message for every single sign, so it must be important to someone, to probably multiple signs. So I wanted to put this out here potentially for everyone to benefit from it. So we're going to get going. I'm going to show you the piles, which I'm going to pull some oracles. I'm going to show you some objects. you can study it. I'll put it up on your screen so that you can see all of it, and you can pick or just watch all of them. I don't know, but I do tend to be pretty long-winded, so these might be long, they might be short. It's only a 3-card spread, but we will see. This is an adventure for me and hopefully for you as well. So let's look at the piles now. Okay, y'all, so these are your 3 piles. I will go through and explain them to you, and then I'll put it on the screen. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully this is in focus. The first pile, we have the mustache, which these are just random objects that I picked from around the house. And the oracle I pulled for that was communication, and then I pulled a kipper as well and got concern. So right off the bat here, if you are someone who has a mustache, because I can't help but notice it looks like this guy right here has a mustache. So this could be for my male viewers. If you identify as male, whatever the case may be. Or this could be something if you are wondering about communication to or from a male, and maybe he has a mustache. I don't know, but you can decide if that resonates with you or not, but it seems pretty simple to me. This has something to do with communication, and I believe there is a male, potentially one with a mustache, involved, whether that be you or the other person. Okay, and I find this fascinating. In the middle we have bond. The kippers I pulled for that were marriage and journey. So this could be something about distance or travel, but I feel more strongly, because that's actually another message of this journey card, is taking a step forward, like making a move. Somebody could be thinking about marriage, could be thinking about the person they want to marry, something about this. This obviously feels like a partnership to me of some sort. And of course, the sunflower, I think it's a sunflower, it could be a daisy. It's up to you. This little push pin was the item I picked for this pile. So the third pile, we have these little black tweezers. I don't actually use these tweezers for my face. These are household tweezers for tiny little projects and things that need tweezers. So it's not from my makeup bag or anything, just random tweezers I found, in case that matters. Preparation and direction were the 2 cards that came out from the oracle, and the kipper is the main female. So to me, this pile over here could be, if you are someone who identifies as male, this could be all just about you. If you're a woman, someone who identifies as a woman, this could be about you. Or this could be about a woman that has significance to you. This could be about a man who has significance to you. I just think it's funny how it broke down so simply. And then in the middle, we have a relationship. Now, perhaps for some of you, this is real literal and all of these apply to you. You could be determining, what direction you want to go for, preparing to go. Here we do have journey as well. So I do find it interesting how all of these kind of flow together. So you can take that for what it's worth. Otherwise, you could just pick one pile, and I'm going to enlarge this so okay, group 1, for those of you who are choosing the mustache with communication and concern. Again, this is a 3-card spread, So I'm going to put at least 3 cards down. I do have 3 different Rider-Waite's right next to me, so if I need clarification, I will clarify. So the first card we're looking for, Spirit, angels, ancestors, guides. What is your emotional mind telling you about this situation? There we go, 2 of Wands. There's that crossroads and decision energy. What is your reasonable mind telling you? Yes, Emperor. And what is the conclusion of your wise mind? Got 2 cards, Justice, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, well, right off the bat, with the 2 of Wands coming up in your emotional space, I feel like it's actually your emotions that are conflicted. We do have the 10 of Cups at the bottom of this deck. So once again, and I'm splitting on the 10 of Wands. So I mean, that's kind of obvious, I guess, but it could be your emotions that are conflicted. It could be that you have to choose between one life and another life, or one person and another person. I'm not necessarily feeling that vibe of 2 people, but let's see. And then in your reasonable mind, you have the Emperor, which, I mean, it tells me your logical mind is telling you to take action, to take charge, but emotionally you're kind of frozen for some reason, or you're overthinking, overanalyzing, because the 2 of Wands can be a card of planning. So maybe there's too much planning. Maybe you're not being spontaneous enough. And your wise mind is sitting in the position of Justice with the Ace of Pentacles. Now, to me, this very simply says that your wise mind understands that you get back what you put in, that there's a karmic wheel involved in your decisions. So, you know, for every decision there's a consequence. So if you don't take action, there will be no opportunity, right? But if you do take action, you will get the opportunity, especially if you could embody the Emperor. So let's get more information. Why is the 2 of Wands here in the emotional mind of the Aquarian? Queen of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. Once again, the 10 of Cups. Okay, King of Swords, 7 of Cups, and the Devil at the bottom. Okay. Well, okay. Can I just get one more? And then I'll say both things. 5 of Swords in reverse. Okay. Well, all right. Sorry, I really hope my, old ratty slippers aren't in the view right now, because I really can't see what you're seeing. Let me actually move this over. Okay, so we have all right, well, for some of you, this is a question of finances. This is a question of your resources. And I think it has to do with, it could be family, children, not being sure if you have the resources available to start a family, or potentially if there are no children in the foreseeable future for you, it could be a question of whether or not you have the resources to support this other person. I don't know if that's a thing. But it could also just be an issue of priorities, right? Like maybe you're having a hard time prioritizing your own emotional fulfillment, your own happiness, and maybe you're sabotaging yourself. I mean, I do think that this is sort of an internal issue, right? Where this is making me feel like somebody who doesn't think they deserve happiness. I'm trying not to get emotional and whatever over that, but this is the Five of Swords is making me feel like somebody's telling themselves that they can't do it, or they aren't capable, or like it's somehow not for them. But I don't think that's like coming from a place of what they desire. I think it's coming from a place of just feeling not good enough. I don't know where that message might have come from, somewhere in the past, potentially, but I think that's what's holding you back here. And for others, I do feel like this might be a situation where you don't know how to proceed with something, and I am taking this as probably some sort of relationship, just because we are seeing the Ten of Cups twice here. But I mean, it could be just about your own happiness. But whatever the situation is, right, that your logical mind is telling you need to take charge of, somewhere in your emotions there's some muck here that's telling you that maybe you already sabotaged the opportunity. So I do think there's some self-doubt here that's impacting the emotional space. And I don't necessarily think I have anything else to say about that. It's just, I think you're holding yourself back here by telling yourself that you can't. Yeah. Knight of Swords. It's like you could be listening to outside opinions, or you are your own outside opinion who is second guessing yourself. You could be not, telling yourself that you're rushing things, or that, it's too hasty. Yeah. Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So anyway, it could be an issue with going back and forth on whether or not something is too hasty or too impulsive. Yeah, I do feel like there's some sort of impulsivity here, or lack of impulsivity, and needing to balance the two, right? And if it's something to do with outsider opinions, I think you should definitely ignore those. Like, that is always my advice on outside opinions. You know what's best for you better than anyone else, and I don't think those are relevant. So if that's the issue, I think we need to put that aside, because we have the Emperor in the logical space, right? So on one side of this dilemma, that you have to step into your power and you have to take charge. I also find it interesting that I said this could be a reading for a masculine energy, and we have the Emperor showing up, okay? So you're halfway there. where you're getting tripped up is in your emotions. And it's just really, to me, I feel like it's a lack of action. You have action with the Emperor, lack of action with the Two of Wands. This is like an overthinking situation, okay? And then what your higher self or your wise mind is telling you is justice. Come to a balance within yourself, right? If this is a timing issue or a fear of rushing, balance it out. Take your time, remain centered, tempered, and know that, you know, whatever decisions or lack of decision is being made in the present moment, it is directly affecting whether or not you have this opportunity. So I don't want to rush you, but let's get some clarifiers for this. Yeah, Lovers, see? One more. The Star. You need to decide what it is here that is your dream. You need to decide what you're being guided to, what you're being pulled to. This is an intuitive, and really it's an emotional task that you need to undertake. And I mean, I guess for some, you know, not to get into gender roles and what have you, but I guess for some masculines, it is difficult to tap into your emotions and your intuition more so than feminine energies, because you're not taught to do so. You're not encouraged to do so as much, you know, from day one as more feminine energies are. But I don't know. It's my belief that when you know, when you know, when you know, you know. And I think that it's some weird, I don't know, self-doubt, lack of self-esteem potentially, something like this that's really just tripping you up here when, you know, at the end of the day, these are very powerful cards coming out on this side that tell me that you know what the choice needs to be made is. You just need to feel more comfortable in your own skin and understand your own value. I feel like this is a question of your own value more than anything else, and I feel like it's holding you back from taking action. So let me get one more card for Justice. What's the Justice and the Ace of Pentacles? One more. Yeah, you're afraid of rejection. You're feeling insecure and you're afraid of rejection. Whether this is a job or, you know, a dream, a person, a relationship, I feel like there's self-doubt here. Maybe you're feeling a little inferior and you're afraid of failure, or you're afraid that something's not going to turn out. The only way you find out is by taking the risk. And for some of you, I do feel like there's a timing issue here. Like there's time that's passed and you feel like you've missed out. The only way you find out is by finding out, right? If you just sit there and tell yourself that you have missed out, well, guess what? You're right. Right? Okay. Justice, Ace of Pentacles. That is the answer. Know that, you know, you reap what you sow. The longer you sit on your laurels, the more likely the chances that you will miss out. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get you one card of advice, though. Spirit, advice for group 1, please. Advice for group 1, please. Nurture yourself first. There you go. Nurture yourself first. This is, I feel about self-confidence. I feel about believing in yourself. So, I don't know, retreat, embrace your power. I don't know, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to interpret it for you, but nurture yourself first. Group 2. For those of you who chose the flower and the bond card with journey and marriage, we got the tower popping out. Okay, so to recap, we're looking at your emotional mind, your reasonable mind, and your wise mind, and what the three are telling you about this issue, okay? As I said in the beginning, I do think this obviously has something to do with a relationship, a partnership with someone else, and whether or not to take the first step or the next step. Interesting that I said first step, but the next step, I mean, and this could be work too, I guess, you know. This could be some kind of contract, something that you're committing to, maybe traveling for a job, something, I mean, take it however you want. Whew, lots of cards wanting to pop out for you. That actually happened in the oracles too. Page of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. Okay, interesting. All right, Spirit, angels, ancestors, guides. Tell me what the emotional mind of group 2. Yeah, Ace of Cups, right on point. And what is the reasonable or logical mind saying? Oh, 7 of Wands. Okay. And what's the conclusion of the wise mind for group 2? Okay, that's a few too many cards falling out, but you know what? I'm going to take them because they make sense immediately to me. I do, however, well, might as well throw that because that guy fell in my lap. I do, however, want clarification for the logical mind, so I'm going to grab another deck. I really hope you can hear me. For group 2, Spirit, why is the 7 of Wands here in the logical mind for group 2? The Fool in reverse, the World. Okay, for many of you, this is about distance, travel. I mean, it's all over. Journey, the 3 of Wands, the World, the Fool in reverse. Okay, so unlike group 1, group 2, I feel like you are very emotionally open. You're very in touch with your emotions. I think you know that something is a golden opportunity for you, okay? But there's something here in your mind that's holding you back here. It's making you defensive. I don't know what this is, but it could have something to do with distance. It could have something to do with a location. Maybe there's a question of, well, I mean, there's a question of spontaneity, just like group 1 had something about that as well. There's something holding you back from wanting to take a risk. Okay, and it could be about, you know, the upheaval involved of moving yourself somewhere. If this is a question of distance and traveling or moving, I mean, yeah, that's huge, right? And that is scary. And that can make you... Okay, I want one more though. What's like... I feel like there's more here. With the Seven of Wands, the Empress. The Devil. Okay. Interesting. Devil, Four of Wands, and the Star. Okay, for some of you... for some of you... Yeah. Okay, for some of you, this is a question of, how do I put this? You feeling like something's potentially, I don't want to say toxic, but I think with the Ace of Cups here, right, you're very emotionally invested. Whether you want to admit it or not, you are very emotionally invested in this person, this situation. I feel very strongly that this is a person. I mean, like, you're in love with this person straight up. You should know that. And I think there's a question here of needing to logically defend yourself, somehow put up some boundaries, because of how powerful that emotion is that you feel. Okay? I think you're afraid of looking stupid. I think you're afraid of rushing into something that is overwhelming in the emotional space. I don't know how to make this make sense. I mean, I get it though. So like, you're worried that it's something toxic, that it's something too big. So like, so on the one hand, I feel like it's like, you think it's a trick, right? Like a trick of the devil, potentially. Something that's gonna hurt you, right? And it's a big risk involved, I feel. So, I mean, there's always a risk involved in letting yourself be vulnerable, right? Putting yourself in a position to get hurt when you have such strong emotions, right? So there's always a risk in that. But I feel like there's something in your mind that's sort of, it's actually your mind, I think, that's tricking you into questioning whether or not something is actually like toxic or bad for you, because it's coming from a place of fear, because you're fearing getting hurt, because you're fearing that there's too much risk to be taken on your part, not just in like some sort of upheaval, which I do feel strongly is like moving or traveling, but in your emotions too. You're risking your emotions, right? But on the other hand, I feel like you know that this is divinely guided, that this is a spiritual connection, or something spiritually orchestrated for you. It's something being brought to you, I feel, with the Star here and the Four of Wands. And I apologize, that was my alarm. So I mean, I guess the first thing on top of that I'd say is that this is completely normal. I think we all feel this way when we meet somebody who's like just too good to be true, right? But like, I mean, it's a question of faith with the Star card there too. Like, do you have the faith in the universe that what you ask for will be given to you? And if you don't, then why is that? I mean, and if you don't, then why ask for anything to begin with, right? Why have any hopes or any dreams if you don't think they could come true? You know, like if you're just gonna block them off and push them away and sabotage them when they show up, then, you know, what is even the point of any of it, right? I don't know. I'm half joking. But yeah, I do think this is a defensiveness in your mind space here. And I mean, it could have, once again, it could have to do with distance, with travel, with the unknown, with stepping into, you know, some sort of new life through a portal of some sort, and questioning whether or not that will be successful, whether or not you'll, you know, be abundant in that capacity, whatever the case may be, in that relationship, in that job. So, yeah, and I think you're afraid of looking stupid if it fails, right? That's what I think. Give me one more, though, just in case there's something else. For 7 of Wands, for group 2, for the 7 of Wands. The Lovers. Come on now. Page of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. Okay, yeah, well, for some of you, I feel like this is a question of whether or not something's mutual. But I mean, just once again, we're getting just, this is confirming for me that this is divinely guided, that this is something for you, right? And I feel like you're saying, like, wait a minute, is this too good for me? Like, do I deserve this? And maybe this is similar to group 1, actually. And maybe there was a point in time, if this is like an existing connection with history, maybe there was a point in time when you did push it away, right? Where you did miss the boat. You didn't take the leap of faith. You lacked the faith that this was something meant for you, that this was something that you deserved, right? All right, well, anyway, to me, this is saying that the defensiveness here is just like a fear. It's a lack of faith, whether that be in yourself or in the universe and its ability to bring you things that you asked for that are meant for you. With the Ace of Cups, give me one for the Ace of Cups just for fun. Or 10. Alright, give me one for the Ace of Cups. Seven of Wands in reverse. Yeah, see? It's like two different sides. On the one hand, you're open emotionally, but your mind is closed. Your mind is telling you one thing. I mean, that's the whole point of this spread. So I guess we'll just move on to your wise mind and what your wise mind is telling you. Your wise mind is telling you, first of all, if this is something about distance, your wise mind is telling you that there are infinite possibilities here. The world is your oyster, is the energy I'm kind of getting on this. Like, you manifested this. I mean, this is probably a psychic connection or something that you psychically, whether you realize or not, sent out into the universe to bring for you, and this you know, this is them bringing it to you. It's real, it's true, it's honest. And you just have to be courageous. You just have to have the chutzpah to take a chance on yourself, on this person, on the universe, because I do believe that this is something that you wanted, that you asked for. Let me get one more. Yeah, 9 of Cups, come on. This is some sort of wish being fulfilled for you, and I feel like you think it's a trick. Yeah, Ace of Wands in reverse. You don't feel up to the challenge. Okay, these cards, somebody really wants to speak to you, because this keeps happening with every deck I pick up. Temperance, 10 of Pentacles. Okay. Well, definitely for some of you, I do feel like that there's been a mishap or a false start already for this connection. And I do think that, you know, now that time has passed, I feel like something can be made out of it, right? Like, you can turn the situation around if you want to. But, I mean, 10 of Pentacles here. Once again, it's just reiterating the same message. This is everything you've ever wanted. It's your mind that's screwing with you. It's your mind that's not allowing you to have it because you don't think you deserve it, or you just don't believe, or whatever. It could be something from the past holding you back, bad memories of something, you know. Yeah, maybe somebody was mean to you, harsh in the past to you, cut you off in the past, or maybe this person did in the past over something. But yeah, I do think that there's mutual love here, okay? Because the Lovers, because the Empress, because the World, Temperance. I mean, we also have the High Priestess here. Like I said, I think for some of you, you feel like this is something out of your league that you don't deserve, that is just, you know, too much for you to like process, like mentally process that it's like real and true. But I mean, the Ace of Swords was the first card out from your wise mind. I do apologize again. And I mean, that's telling me that, you know, this is real, authentic, true. And 3 of Wands, you asked for it. This is what you wanted. And it's here. So I don't know why this is happening, but kind of like, I mean, similar to group 1, I feel like you were just holding yourself back. And I mean, on this Ace of Cups, I feel so much on this Ace of Cups. I understand, I understand the fear, but you know, you only regret the things you don't do. At least that's my experience and my belief. So the only regret you're gonna have is, you know, not taking the opportunity to seize the day on an opportunity that's being brought to you by the universe because you asked for it. I strongly feel that. I mean, if this is legitimately a question of marriage, I mean, this is like your person, right? So, just something to think about there. We'll give you one card of advice, and then I'm going to move on to group 3. So let me pull out my little for group 2, Spirit. Reach for the stars. There you go. I love that. I didn't really like the advice for group 1, but that's perfect. Reach for the stars. Don't limit yourself by pushing away things that are literally being brought to you by the universe. Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. Okay, last but not least, group 3. So, for those of you who picked the preparation card, which did come out with the direction card as well, with the main female. I mean, to recap, I do think that this could be a decision about your direction in life. It could be about a move. I mean, of course, it could be about a relationship. But obviously, part of what is keeping us stuck, right, is that preparation, perhaps. Group 1 had a little bit of the similar energy with the 2 of Wands and their emotional space. So I do feel like you could resonate with the first group as well, which I kind of got a hunch at the beginning that that might be the case. So I feel like, you know, there's some choice here of direction, clearly. And either you're choosing a new direction or you are choosing how to go about a direction that you've already chosen, right? And maybe it's just the preparation phase that has you stuck. But let's find out, okay? We're going to look at what your emotional mind is telling you. Three of Cups. Knight of Pentacles, interesting, okay. And what is your reasonable mind telling you? For group 3 spirit, what is their reasonable mind telling them? Ooh, King of Wands, okay. King of Wands in reverse with the Chariot. Okay. And what is their wise mind saying? Tell me about the wise mind for group 3. Whoa, okay, I just dropped the deck. So I don't trust any of those other cards that came out. Alrighty. Well, right off the bat here, given what has come out and what I've seen while shuffling, I do feel like some of you, okay, especially, hold on, let me think 1 second. Okay, so I feel like some of you might think that you're dealing with a womanizer or whatever the masculine equivalent of that is. Most of the people who watch my channel are women. I do look at the statistics. So many of you, statistically speaking as well, many of you may have relationships with men. But it doesn't really matter, I guess. You might think you're dealing with some kind of narcissistic type of person, right? Someone who is a, you know, two-timing, do nothing, go nowhere type of person. You might think that they're just in it with you and other people, whatever the case may be. You might think that they just get into situations for the attention. You might think that, you know, they live a kind of party lifestyle that keeps them kind of stuck or stalled in life. Like, I'm really getting this vibe of dealing with a person who you just think is going nowhere in life based, you know, on their own decisions and actions. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. I am going to clarify. And we'll look at each of these by itself, right? All right, so in the emotional space, Spirit, we have the Three of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. Can you clarify that for me, please? Tell me more about this. Yeah, Six of Swords. I definitely get the sense that you are ready to move on from someone. Probably because you feel like it's going nowhere. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like emotionally you have moved on from this and you have your eyes set on another opportunity. I'm not really understanding for sure why. Okay. Never mind. It came to me as soon as I started saying that. All right, for some of you, for some of you, this is a reconciliation that has taken a very, very long time. All right, and you might have been waiting for it and you might have wanted it at one time, but I feel like you are now ready to move on. And I feel like you have your sights set on a new opportunity. And this person might be kind of coming in to kind of try to stop you or, to divert your direction back to them, all right? So, emotionally speaking, I do feel, and if you're on the other side of this, just to stop for 1 second, this could be you, all right? If you picked this pile and you are thinking of going towards someone, you could yourself be someone who's taken a very, very long time to come back together with someone, and you could be making your move now, okay? However, I do feel, regardless, that if you are on the other side of that, I think the person on the other side, okay, we're going to take the main female as the person being approached regardless. So if you are on the other side, I do feel like you are the masculine energy approaching the female energy, if that makes sense. So I do feel, regardless though, that the feminine energy here is about done with this. Logically, in the reasonable mind, I feel like the feminine is done. In her emotional space, I do feel like, I don't want to give anybody false hope, but I do feel like she did hope that this would come back, okay? But I do feel like it's been too long, and I do feel like she's moving on to another opportunity, regardless of this other person, I feel, probably being the one coming in with that opportunity, with another opportunity. Okay, so it seems so confusing. It's making sense in my mind, but it's not sounding like it's making sense, is it? The feminine energy I hear is going to have two opportunities potentially for her to decide between whatever she's heading toward now and something from the past. Does that make sense? And I think that's all there is to it. I'm feeling very strongly that though there might still be emotion here, there might still be love here for the old person, I do feel like the logical mind might win out here. But let's pull some more cards and find out. Okay, tell me more about the King of Wands specifically. Oh, my cards are turned around. Whatever, I'll fix it later. All right, tell me about the King of Wands, please. Specifically, why is the King of Wands here in the logical, reasonable mind? Oof. All right. Justice kind of came out reversed with the Two of Pentacles here. Yeah, I mean, you think this is somebody who's off balance. You think this is somebody who juggles, I'm going to go out on a limb and say too many people, but it could just be too many things, okay? This could just be, you think this person spreads their self too thin, you know, to their own demise. You might feel that they treated you unfairly, and I mean, I agree. Like, there's often no coming back for that. Once someone shows you a lack of respect and consideration, they put you on the back burner, they don't, you know, they don't prioritize you. It's hard to come back from that, in my opinion, as well. So yeah, I think you think this person's just kind of a messy person who doesn't have what it takes to show up, right? One more time. Or you could feel they're very indecisive as well. They might have gone back and forth. Knight of Wands, the Devil. Yeah, definitely for some of you, I feel like you think this person's just like toxic and only in it for, you know, to get their rocks off. And you probably feel, yeah, they're very erratic, wishy-washy, and potentially, you know, just running around the neighborhood, you know, to whoever's door will let them in. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but I'm trying to have some tact here. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you could think that they're just really superficial, or you think they're too focused on their job. Like for some of you, this isn't like, you know, a promiscuous person. It's just a person who maybe is a workaholic and just kind of not in the headspace to commit to a relationship because they're just too focused on balancing out the basics of life, or, you know, just working too much and trying to balance that out. All right, doesn't necessarily have to be like some gross slimy person. It could just be someone who has too much going on in their life to move forward, right? Okay, let's clarify the Chariot. It's the Chariot. Or I mean, for some of you, this person might not have a car or might not have a license. It's definitely a potential here. All right, what's the Chariot? I don't like how that came out. What's the Chariot? Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, definitely some time has passed here. You think this person wasted your time, potentially. Nine of Wands. I mean, of all the groups, I feel like your head and your heart are actually kind of on the same page. So I don't necessarily see much of an issue here. I think that, you know, you emotionally, you feel like this person put you on the back burner, potentially put you in a third party, or, you know, triangulated you in some way and wasted your time, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and too much time has passed, and you're just ready to move on. You're just done. And, you know, whether this person's toxic or not, I feel like it doesn't matter. You don't feel valued. You don't feel like they prioritized you. And what is the point when someone makes you wait so long? I mean, obviously, you know, if you're the last thing on their to-do list, you can't really expect that that's magically going to change, right, all of a sudden. I wouldn't. I would trust the evidence, and I would assume that, you know, if it's taken him such and such amount of time to come back around, it's probably always going to be that way. You're always going to be, you know, the last thing on the list. And I mean, that might not always be true, but I think it's a fair assumption. So I think you're on track with that. However, your wise mind is telling you Page of Swords. What's the Page of Swords? Eight of Wands, Knight of Cups, okay. I don't know if that should be reversed or not. Let me get another deck, actually. I brought 3 for this very purpose. Okay, tell me more about the Page of Swords, please, Spirit, Angels, Ancestors, guys. Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords. What's the Knight of Cups? Why is the Knight of Cups here? 7 of Cups. Okay. Six of Pentacles. Clarify the Six of Pentacles, please. Ace of Cups. Ace of Wands. Okay, I'm torn here. Well, all right, well, for some people here, I do feel like with the Page of Swords, I feel like this is either your intuition, or you could potentially, this could refer to like tarot readings or your own tarot if you do your own tarot. This could be coming up. You could be getting messages like telling you that this person is reaching out and that, you know, there's going to be some sort of communication from them. I need more clarification. But this is feeling good to me, though. What's the Queen of Cups? 10 of Pentacles. I don't like the way that came out. What's the Queen of Cups? Seven of Swords. Okay. One more. What's the Queen of Swords? I'm hesitating to say Page of Pentacles. This is a lot. I feel like there's 2 different sides here. I feel like on one hand, in some cases, this person has made some sort of changes. I feel like where they have been emotionally imbalanced, so to speak, in the past, like if that's the case, okay, if this person was just an emotional wreck, somebody who, I mean, that happens to a lot of people, like they can't overexert themselves in certain areas of life without it like setting them off balance in other areas, right? So, I mean, it's hard to get that balance of all different areas of your life. Most of us, right, like usually like there's 1 or 2 areas that are going really well and then the rest are kind of like, needs work, right? Like it's hard to balance every single aspect of your life out perfectly, and it is a matter of prioritization. You have to cut out the things that are not necessary, that are draining your energy, that just aren't important. You don't want to invest too much of your time and energy into things that just aren't, you know, from a broader perspective, going to be important. So it is important that we prioritize the people that we want in our life long term, and not temporary minor situations or people, right? Okay, so if this was somebody who was kind of an emotional wreck before, I do think there's a potential that they have changed and that they have gotten into balance, whether that means that they sought some kind of counseling or help. I am feeling that here, like that they might have needed to get on some kind of mood stabilizers to bring them back into balance. Could be anti-anxiety medication, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty standard stuff. I'm not making any judgments. Okay, a lot of people are on those types of things. But I mean, for others of you, I am concerned about some sort of cycle repeating itself, emotional manipulation, lies, cheating. I mean, there's a concern, I'm not gonna lie. So I hesitate to give either of those messages, because for some of you, I don't necessarily think that that's the case. Empress in the World. Hangman. Alright. I'm going to clarify specifics. Tell me more about the Queen of Cups. I'm sorry, this is a lot more. Ace of Wands. This is a lot more clarification than I wanted for the other readings, but I do feel like this is important. I just feel like you're going to have to use your discernment here. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to get a straightforward answer that I'm happy with, because I do feel like there's two sides to this. Okay. So, sure. This person might have changed, okay? They might be more stable now. But that does not necessarily mean that you have to forgive them or that you have to take them back, right? And I do think that there is a possibility of communication coming in from this person. So if you are feeling that, if that's an intuitive hunch, or if it's being brought to you via intuitive means, I do think that is a possibility. And I do think that they want to gift you something, or they want something new with you, like they want a new start with you, but I don't think you should take it. To be honest with you, Justice. Yeah, I feel like how do I explain this? That part of their karma or part of their lesson, okay, this very well might have been a lesson in their life that you were a part of, right? That they were supposed to learn from. They might be communicating to you the fact that they have learned that lesson, and that doesn't have to mean anything really to you, right? That doesn't have to change anything, I guess is what I'm saying, and I don't think it should. I strongly feel like you have a new opportunity And you know in your heart that you have a new opportunity that can grow, that can be permanent, that can be fruitful for you, that can be fulfilling for you. I feel like you've already done a lot of work and you've already made sacrifices to move on from this situation. I don't think this person deserves another chance. Now, you know, I'm a hard ass. I'm a ball buster. I don't really like giving second chances. Although I am a Pisces, we're famous for giving second, third, fourth, fifth chances, whatever. I'm not that Pisces. I'm really not. So I'm quick to say no, and I don't think you should. Let me ask. Okay, overall, does this deserve, no, we're putting it back. Does this deserve a second chance? Does this person deserve a second chance? Three of Wands. Well, it's up to you. Maybe in the future, you know, definitely up to you, but Three of Wands, I think for the most part you've turned your back on this and you're looking elsewhere. So, I mean, that confirms it for me. Overall, no, I don't think this deserves a second chance. Of course you can forgive. Of course you can, you know, accept an apology, come to an understanding, make peace with someone. But I think that justice, whatever happened in the past, I feel like it's coming full circle. I feel like there's a balancing out here where part of this person's lesson, like the final leg of the lesson, is for them not to get a second chance with you. Once again, it's up to you. It's your discernment. It's your life. You get to decide. But I don't think you should feel bad if you already know that you're moving on and that you're going to turn this person down. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think you cutting them off is going to teach them a bigger lesson and help them grow. So, I mean, I think it's for their own good. And, you know, obviously, if they have changed, if they have gotten better and done some work on themselves to be more balanced, etc., then, you know, they're already learning, they're already growing, and that's always a positive thing. I'll get you one more card of advice, Spirit, for group 3. Any final advice? I keep dropping this deck. Any final, wake-up call came at the bottom of the deck. Any final advice for group 3? Final advice for group 3. No? Anything you want to say to group 3? Wow, okay. Maybe wake-up call was, I mean, I think that's funny. Spirit. Okay, interesting. Think things through. Well, I mean, of all the groups, I think that's most appropriate for you. I think you already have thought things through, and I think that you're very capable of thinking them through some more and making the best choice for you. With the main female card coming out here, I do get this strong sense of needing to emphasize focusing on yourself, what's good for you, understanding what your standards are when it comes to love and what you expect, knowing that you deserve the best. And if you see something, Ace of Pentacles, Six of Swords, that you've already decided to move toward, I think you should continue preparing to move in that direction. And regardless of someone else preparing to come in your direction from the past, I think you should keep heading toward it. But Apparently there is a need to take your time and keep your thoughts aligned. But I mean, of all the three groups, I feel most confident in your ability to do all of that and make the best decision. So thank you, group 3. Thank you, whoever else may be watching. I hope these were helpful, and I'll see you next time.